Okay, I'm gonna try this again. I recorded this once and it was way longer than I thought it was gonna be, because it doesn't matter. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about auditions, which is very long overdue. I know I posted on my Tumblr that a video would be coming soon, and I just haven't had the time. School has been insane, and I've been super busy every weekend with events and blah blah blah. You guys don't care. Okay, so auditions. In my last video, I said I was going to either Rochester, New York, or Philly in PA, and I ended up going to the Rochester auditions on March 19th. It was a Tuesday, so I left Monday night. My dad drove from Connecticut to here to school and picked me up. Then we drove to Rochester in awful weather, almost died, but we didn't. I made it. It was all good. And we stayed in a hotel that was like right down the street from where the audition was, so it was super easy to get to the next morning. And yeah, so I got to the audition at about like 8:50, 9 o'clock-ish, and check-in was at 9:30. So I just wanted to get there early because I didn't know how many people were going to be there and whatnot, and I wanted to stretch a little bit because I didn't know how much time we were going to have from check-in to the start of the audition. So I just kind of went and just put down my stuff, put on my ballet shoes, and just started stretching and started chatting with some people. This is my biggest piece of, well, not the biggest piece, but a pretty big piece of advice I would give to anybody going to auditions would be just make friends. Everyone feels just as awkward as you do. There's usually only a couple people who go there with people they actually know, or like a group of people they know. So just go out there, just be like, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm doing the DCP, have you been accepted yet? Oh, what role? Like, everyone's in the same boat. It's totally fine. So 9:30 rolled around, and they opened the doors, and we went to check in, and it was your standard check-in. There's a table, line up behind the table, and you get there, you get a number, you write your name, your email address, and like if you were doing this college program, or if you were auditioning for a full-time character performer. And then they took your height, and then you just sat and waited for the rest of everyone to go through. And so I like put down my stuff along like the side of the room, and then I just went to like the middle of the dance floor and just started stretching and talking to people and whatnot. And I don't know the exact number of how many people were there, but I want to say no more than 130, but no less than 110, something like that. Like, the last number I remember seeing was like 105 maybe, but I know there's still people in line behind that person that I saw. I just never got a look at like the last actual number. But anyways, so I was number 6, and so I did all my stuff and I was stretching, and then once everybody's done going through the line, they introduce themselves, they talk to you about just, the process of how it's going to go, what to expect, and, not to take things personally, but the character performers are very height specific, and if you do not meet one of the height requirements, it's nothing against you personally. You could be the best dancer or be the most beautiful girl in the entire world, but if you are not the height to be friends with a princess or a fur character or something like that, then they can't use you because it's really specific. So we did that, and then they taught us the first combination, which was the first round of the auditions, and it was 2 counts of 8, and it was like a parade exercise or parade dance, whatever. And it was like skips and arms and really energized hands and jazz square and some other thing, or marches or something like that. Super simple. If you have any sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? I have no idea. If you're not awkward, like if you have any coordination, there we go. If you're coordinated at all, you'll be able to get this. Just don't worry, don't sweat it. Just focus. Like, don't be worried about like, oh my god, I hope I make the cut. Just focus on the 2 counts of 8 that you have to do 3 times, going from like the back of the room up towards the casting director, like at her table, and just have fun. Just smile, be goofy, make facial expressions. If you mess up a step, just keep going. Like, I felt so bad, like when I was watching some people go across the floor, like if they messed up, their face went from like to instantly just dead face. And, like, that's something they don't want to see because, you know, it could happen if you're dancing in a parade down Main Street and you mess up a step. The guests aren't going to know unless they see your face, like, looking around all panicky. But if you still just keep a smile on, and they're not going to notice. So just have fun and smile at all times. Your face will hurt by the end of the day. So after everybody did that, the casting director and the choreographer did, like, a little powwow. And then they called us all to the center of the room to sit down like a little blob. And then the casting director said, all right, I'm going to read your number and your name. And if I call your number and your name, then please stay. If I don't, thank you for coming today, blah, 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 blah. And so I was, like I said, I was number 6. So I was the second person called for the cut. So it was a big relief early on. So, and I want to say there was about 40 of us who made it into the second round. So a pretty big chunk got cut. So I was, right off the bat, I was like, you know what? If I completely mess up everything, like, at least, I made it this far. Like, I got it. So after that, they kind of just explained to us how the rest of the afternoon was going to go, and we filled out paperwork. They took our height again. They took our picture. You just had to give them, like, more contact information and just, like, what semester you were doing the college program for and things like that. And, like, if you had any special skills. And, yeah. And they took headshots and resumes at this time. I think mainly more so for the full-time character performer auditions. But I didn't bring one, which was stupid, because as a theater major, I should always have my headshot and resume with me. But I didn't. But they said it wasn't that big of a deal. They take your picture there and they have your information. So it's not the end of the world. It's not like they're not going to consider you if you don't have that. So don't freak out. But after everybody was done with the paperwork and the pictures and all of that, we got up and the choreographer gave us 2 animation scenarios. And, like, she just put on music and, like, had us, like, play around and just, improv and just whatever. And then after we did that for a few minutes, then she taught us the dance, which was 6 or 7 counts of 8, something like that. And it started off, like, with, like, a grapevine, so, like, really easy. And then, like, as the dance went on, it got harder. So, like, it ended with, like, a high kick, a ball change, a bell kick, and then land, and then a pirouette, and then you landed. So, which, I've danced since I was 4, so the steps weren't hard, but what was difficult for me was that we learned it really, really fast, and, you needed to understand what was happening and how to get from one count of 8 to the next, so that way you could do it for, like, your actual, like, across the floor, like, audition-y part. So make sure, my biggest tip would be make sure you get to the front. I'm short, so I almost always have to just be near the front, otherwise I can't see. But I weaseled my way in right to the front so I could watch the choreographer's feet, so I could watch her arms, watch what she was doing. And make sure even when you're learning it, like, try to just have a smile on your face, because even though this isn't, like, the judgment part of it, I guess, like, they're always watching you. And, like, and if you don't look like you're having fun or something like that, like, I don't know. I just tried to laugh and look goofy and whatever. So she taught us the dance, and then the casting, like, once we did all that, and we did it a couple times together without music and then with music, then the casting director broke us up into groups. Like, she called us up a couple numbers at a time, like, in her own way. Like, I noticed, like, I was in a group with, like, 3 other short girls, and then there was a group of, like, really tall, like, perfect dancers. And then there's a group of, like, tall guys, and then, like, a little bit shorter guys. So it's, like, I don't know if this was the intention. I'm gonna guess. But they were trying to pair us up with people who had the same, like, physique and height range as us to get an idea of, like, who out of those height ranges were, better or worse or anything like that. So then how it went was when you got called up, they placed you where you had to stand. You did the first animation, then you did the dance, then you did the second animation, then you did the dance, then you stood there and you smiled, and they filmed it, like, on a camera, and you were done, and they said thank you, and you just went and sat off to the side. then after everybody was done going through, you know, they explained to us, like, if we don't call your name, like, don't worry, because there was, like, a third round, where, at least in my audition, I think they pulled, like, 8 or something, like, perfect dancers. Like, it was flawless, and they were on the tall side, so I was like, well, not going to be in that group, so I'm not offended that my name wasn't called. I was really proud of how I did at my audition, how I felt about it, just everything. So, like the rest of us, obviously, got to leave after that was over. So, it was a lot of fun. I mean, regardless of how it goes, whether I get accepted to be a character performer or not, like, I think it was probably one of the best experiences I've ever had at an audition. It was, like, I was nervous when I first walked in and, like, saw people stretching in their perfect splits, and I'm like, I was a little intimidated, but then as soon as, like, the more people got there and just we met the choreographer and the casting director, it was just such a laid-back, fun atmosphere, and, like, you're dancing to Disney music, so, like, it just, don't even worry about it. Just make sure that when you're doing your routines, especially, like, across the floor, like, in front of the casting director and things like that, like, you are smiling and making facial expressions, and during your animation, make all your movements, like, bigger than life and have super energy. Like, my body hurt the next morning when I woke up, like, because I was using just so, like, I stretched and everything, but, like, I was using so many of my muscles to express every part of my body in the animation and in the dance. I was like, oh Lord, this is gonna be interesting. But so just make sure, you know, like, when you're doing your animation, like, if you're surprised, don't just be like, huh, just be, you know, you have to use your whole face and your hands and your eyes and just everything. So, because that's what they really want to see. And they said that, you know, your animation is more important than getting every single dance step right. If you mess up a dance step, so what? Keep going, keep the smile on your face, and you'll be great. Sorry, I just tried to speed through that. Hope I didn't talk way too fast because I didn't want this video to be forever long. It probably still is. But I'm gonna make another video, like, as soon as I'm done uploading this one, about, like, what I did to prepare and, like, what I wore and what to bring and things like that, just because if I include it in this one, it's gonna be like an hour long, and nobody wants to sit through that. People probably won't even want to sit through this, but I hope you do, because this is what I do with my life when I'm avoiding doing homework and waiting for the psych 100th episode to come on, and my hair is really staticky. Okay, so I hope this helps any future DCP auditionees, whatever. I hope. If not, I'm sorry. I tried. If you guys, for the people who are watching this, if people are watching this, if you guys have any questions about any other part of the process or just anything, like, comment or message me, because I don't really know what to make videos on right now because, like, I'm not there yet, and I have been really bad about keeping up with videos because school has taken my soul. But, okay, well, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and see you next time.